Thank you so much, all of you, for being here today, and thank all our friends from the media here today as well for this very important event here in Watford and launching of our Race and Faith Manifesto. But I want to start by also congratulating Chris Ostrowski on taking on the cause for Labour in Watford and being the next MP for Watford. Chris! So Chris will be the next MP for Watford, and one person who's going to... Yes, he will. Yes. Thank you. Very intelligent man there in the fourth row from the back. Thank you, sir. And there's one person that also should be thanked on behalf of all of our movement and all of our party, and that's somebody who's supporting Chris in this campaign, who's worked flat out in every Labour election campaign in this town since 1979. And that is my great friend who I used to work with in those times, Mike Jackson, the organising agent. It's the work of Mike and so many like Mike around the whole country that sustained our party, developed our party, and will help to lead our party to something very historic on June the 8th. Mike, you're part of that victory. Friends, our country has been united by the shock of the horrific act of terror and the senseless slaughter of people enjoying themselves out on a night in Manchester. In the last few days, we've all thought a bit more about our country, our family and our communities, and the type of society we want for ourselves and for our children to live and grow up in. Those that carried out those heinous crimes seek to divide us. They wish to create a society based on fear and hatred. Now, more than ever, we need to celebrate the profound contribution that the diversity of the people in this country brings. But we must also not be afraid to confront the injustices that continue to exist in society. Injustices made worse by the political choices of the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats in government. Today, people are still treated unfairly due to their race, faith, gender identity, religion, or disability. There is no question that Conservative policies have turned the clock back, with black, Asian and ethnic minority communities being denied the opportunities to flourish and succeed. Only a Labour government can repair the damage done by 7 years of Conservative austerity politics. Those policies have sown the seeds of division in our communities. We will put equality and social justice at the heart of our programme for government. And under this leadership, the Labour Party will deliver a credible plan to break the racial injustices in our economy and social institutions. Theresa May will tell you she wants a society that works for everyone. She will tell you of her deep concern of the burning injustices in society. But the evidence of the last 7 years tells a very, very different story. The Conservatives have forced ethnic minority communities to pay the price for their economic failure. It is indefensible that in Britain today, if you're black or Asian, you're more likely to be living in poverty than if you're white. And you're still less likely to be represented in public life, and more likely to be overrepresented and mistreated by the criminal justice system. How can it be right that Asian and African-sounding names have to send twice as many applications in to get an interview for a job? and that ethnic minority unemployment is double that of the rest of the population. This is the 21st century, and this is not good enough. Our small businesses, the backbone of our economy, many run by black and Asian people, have been ripped off by the Conservatives. Instead of supporting the real wealth creators, start-ups and ambitious strivers, the Conservatives have penalised the self-employed by raising national insurance contributions, squeezing the income of thousands of small business owners. Frankly, they've rigged our economy, handed our wealth and public assets to their super-rich friends, and they expect our communities to pay for it. Austerity has driven our social care system into crisis. Many black and Asian communities who traditionally provide unpaid care for older, disabled and ill relatives will be deeply alarmed by the Conservatives' hostile plans, slapping a dementia tax on those who need social care by making them pay for it by using their homes. Under the Conservatives, the inequalities in education attainment have been ignored. Children from minority ethnic communities, especially African, Caribbean, Pakistani and Bangladeshi, have been heavily affected by Conservative cuts to school budgets. Labour will not stand by while ethnic minority communities are scapegoated for the economic failure and the cruel political choices made by this government. We oppose the Conservatives' proposals to impose immigration targets on professionals and students outside the EU. Your families should not be denied the opportunity to build a life in this country. And Labour believes that in our country, no one should put up with abuse or discrimination in any form, any place, anywhere. And we will stand up too and take effective action against hate crime, notably, but not only, in Muslim, Jewish and non-Abrahamic faith communities. We will strengthen our communities' rights to practice their religion free from any persecution. And I'm very grateful to Stephen Timms, our party's faith envoy, for the work that he does and has done for a long time on this. Labour will continue to defend the right to wear all forms of religious and other dress, Christian, Hindu, Jewish, Muslim and Sikh. I think it's an important message of the inclusivity of our society. I have a simple message for you today. Your aspirations and potential have been held back by the Conservatives. Now it's time for you to claim the future you deserve. Only a Labour government will unleash the potential of all of our communities. It's my belief that without the incredible contribution of our diverse and talented ethnic minority communities, our country would not be the place it is today. Your communities have fought and died alongside British servicemen and women, worked in our National Health Service and built up our economy. But let me be very clear on one issue, your vote. I've long held the view that we should not view ethnic minorities as a homogenous block of voters. Instead, my party, the Labour Party, seeks to win every one of your votes by showing that we care, we understand, and that we're prepared to engage in difficult issues. But do not doubt our determination and my personal determination to go further. That's why I am proud to present our Race and Faith Manifesto, a manifesto that will start to right the wrongs and meet the needs of present and future generations of minority communities. This manifesto has been developed by you and for you. It's a manifesto that commits the next Labour government to stand up for the many, not the few, and to eliminate racial inequality from our economy and our society. So as well as end the scourge of poverty pay with a £10 an hour minimum wage, which will boost the income of ethnic minority communities, we will end name-based discrimination and consider rolling out a name-blind recruitment process for all employment. Labour will take firm action to end the scandal of late payments, which make it hard for many businesses to manage their cash flows. We will give more help to small and medium-sized businesses to ensure that they do not struggle to pay their employees a fair wage. Labour will also refocus our tax system, reintroducing a lower rate of corporation tax for small companies and ending the Conservatives' policy of increasing taxes on small and medium-sized businesses to pay for giveaways to the very largest companies. We are ambitious about the future of your communities in our country. We believe that no matter your background, your potential, your wonderful potential should be realised. So, Labour will ensure high quality education delivers for your children. And we're going to do this in a number of ways. One of which is properly funding our primary schools and secondary schools, but also restoring the education maintenance allowance, student grants, and free university tuition. This will give young black, Asian and minority ethnic children a real chance to achieve and excel. Labour is committed to reversing the damage done to our National Health Service by the Conservatives. We will address the racial inequalities that also exist in our mental health services, and I am determined to address that. And also to recognise the contribution of unpaid carers and to raise the carers' allowance, which I announced on the day the election was announced. That's our message to the people of this country. We will also do better to tackle underrepresentation of black, Asian and minority ethnic people in Parliament and in public life. This will be a key part of our party's racial diversity consultation, led by Shabana Mahmood and Kate Osamore in their National Executive Committee roles, and strongly supported and advised by Keith Vaz and many others who've made an incredible contribution to promoting diversity in our party, our movement and our society, and I thank them for the work they've done. I can say that to Keith because I was the first person to come to Leicester to canvass for him. That was a long time ago. But we're not going to stop there. Our Race and Faith Manifesto commits us to delivering diversity and social justice in our criminal justice system as well. We have to address the problems of the way our prisons are run, the high rate of reoffending, and the poor educational opportunities that are the experience of far too many people who end up within the criminal justice system. We need a system that reforms and brings people out better than when they went in. And we will immediately bring an end to the excessive use of stop and search powers and deliver policing by consent. And deal head-on with the high proportion of ethnic minority deaths in police custody, working with community organisations. We're committed to look closely at the emerging findings of David Lammy's review into these issues. And again, I thank David for the work he's doing. Friends, I am proud to represent one of the most diverse constituencies in Britain. People of all faiths and cultures and nations live side by side in a very close-knit community that remains welcoming in spite of all the challenges it faces. I've spent my political life standing side by side with all communities, campaigning for economic and social justice. And yes, every progressive piece of equality legislation has been delivered by a Labour government. Think of them: the pioneering Race Relations Act of the 1960s, the Human Rights Act, the Equalities Act. But these were not gifts from the well-intentioned liberal establishment. They were won by the struggle from well-organised campaigns from the Black and Asian community in alliance with the wider Labour and progressive movements. After 7 years in government, the political machine she herself dubbed the Nasty Party continues to pursue an economic agenda that serves the elite at the expense of all of our minority and other communities. Only a Labour government will unite our communities around economic and social justice for working people. We will create a society where our origins don't determine our destinies. A Labour government will break the rigged economy. A Labour government will call time on the economic disadvantage faced by Black and Asian communities in Britain. Let's choose a society where everybody, regardless of race, faith or culture, is able to get on in life, have security at work and at home, be decently paid, and live their lives to grow old with dignity. A Labour government will deliver that change. There are 9 days to go until this election takes place. Indeed, some people are already voting who get postal votes. 9 days to have those conversations all around this country. And do you know what? They're happening. On the buses, on the trains, in the cafes, in the bars, everywhere. People are talking about politics. Because what we offer in our manifesto, we stand for the many, not the few, is transformational. We're calling time on the idea that the next generation of young people shouldn't even dream about getting free education, shouldn't even dream about getting a decent support from the state when they get old, shouldn't even dream about getting a home of their own. What austerity has done, and what the redistribution of wealth in favour of the wealthiest and most powerful has done, is reduce the opportunities and aspirations of so many people all over this country. Some poor, some not so poor, some relatively well off. All of them suffer when our NHS is cut, when our education is cut, when our housing opportunities are cut. What we offer is something very different. If you look around this audience today, look at ourselves, look at each other. We're black, we're white, we're old, we're young, we're gay, we're straight, we're disabled, we're not disabled. We have a whole multiplicity of faiths. But what unites us is a fundamental determination that every one of us is important. Every one of our children is important and precious, and every one of us wants our children and future generations to do even better than this one. And we are not going to divide the young from the old any more we're going to divide anybody else. What we seek to do is bring communities together. Because you know what? Communities together achieve things. It was that sense of the collective that brought us the principles of the welfare state and the National Health Service all those years ago, before I was born. They brought us that sense of cohesion as a society. I want to lead a Labour government into the 21st century that will deliver for the people of this country, will invest in an economic future for all, will tackle injustice, poverty and inequality, so that the children of tomorrow's opportunities and chances won't be decided by the postcode of today. When we're united, when we're united, we do very well. And do you know what's happening in this election? Every event, every rally, every event that we put on gets bigger and bigger, and more people want to come along. Because do you know what? There's something happening out there. There's something happening out there of people saying, well, actually, what Labour's saying in this election is what I believe, is the kind of world I want to live in, is the kind of society I want to live in. And so, I urge everyone who hasn't yet made up their mind how they're going to vote, think very carefully. Do you want 5 years of more austerity, 5 years of more cuts to every council's budget, 5 years of more waiting lists and times in our hospitals, 5 years of underfunded schools and overcrowded classrooms, 5 years of more food banks, more people sleeping on the streets of our towns and cities, 5 years of more students getting deeper and deeper into debt, 5 years of the unrequited ambition of so many of our young people? Or are you prepared to say the biggest and most powerful and richest could pay a little bit more, that the rest of us might be able to get a real achievement and life ahead of us with our ambitions met because we work together? Our party offers you this: a manifesto for the many, not the few. A government for the many, not the few. A government that will bring about the social justice, the real democracy that every one of us craves. I urge you to come with us on this wonderful, exciting journey for a much better tomorrow for everybody in this country. Thank you very much.
This winning journey to change the world on June the 8th. So I'm going to take some questions now. I'm going to try and take, so we're running a bit over time, but I want to try and take 3 sets of 3 if I can. I want to do the media first, so we can get the media out of the way. Can I ask... sorry. Oh, no. I didn't know. Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. I meant, I didn't want the media to think that we weren't going to call them. So if I call them first, that limits their anxiety of not being called. That's what I meant. And so please, and also, you know, whatever the question is, just smile and nod, as my mum would say. Smile and nod. No, smile and nod. No booing, no heckling, just smile and nod. Because we are on a journey, and we're on a pathway, and we are building as we grow to the steps of number 10. So smile and nod. Okay, I'm gonna take some questions. John? He's a professional waiting for the mic. Thank you very much, John.
Excellent timing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Corbyn, you are Labour's choice of next Prime Minister. Yet this morning, you couldn't put a cost on the key childcare policy you went out to promote. How do you answer the suggestion that this showed a lack of necessary basic competence?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Jeremy. This morning was difficult. It was awkward to listen to. Do we expect too much from our politicians, expecting you to have every fact and every statistic at your fingertips?
Okay, so it's going to be good, because this is a race and faith manifesto. If for the next question it can be maybe something a little bit different, maybe to the manifesto. Just a suggestion. I'm going to just let Jeremy answer that, so then maybe we can get on to the subject matter.
John, thanks for your question. This morning we launched our childcare manifesto, and I want the exact figure on BBC Women's Hour. I didn't have the exact figure in front of me, so I was unable to answer that question, for which, obviously, I apologise. But I don't apologise for what's in the manifesto, and I will explain exactly what the cost is. It's £4.8 billion it will cost by the end of the Parliament, and it means that 1 million children will get childcare, free childcare, 30 hours per week between the years of 2 and 4. This will mean that all of our children will get the chance to go to nursery, to go to preschool, and to develop socially with each other. The present system of preschool allocation is unsatisfactory and often very unfair. Sometimes, if you're very poor, you can get a free place. If you've got a fair amount of money, you can buy a place. The Conservatives have tried to increase the amount of childcare available for 3 and 4-year-olds, but now find they cannot meet their own target because they haven't put enough money into the system, and too many Sure Start centres have already been closed, and the nursery capacity is simply not there. Our determination is to invest in sufficient nursery capacity throughout the whole country, supporting and hopefully reopening some of the Sure Start centres that have been closed down by this government. I have to say, Sure Start was one of the greatest achievements of the last Labour government, because it gave opportunities for all of our children. And so when we put this manifesto together, we looked at the social issues that affect people in our society. If a child at the age of 2 gets to go to a good preschool facility, nursery, play-based activities, that helps that child develop, helps their social development, helps their understanding of each other, helps their degree of integration into society. That means when they finally get to primary school, a little bit later on, they're well prepared for it, and you can gradually move into a more academic curriculum a little bit later on. Children that don't get that chance are less likely to do so well in primary school. You're then looking at a whole pathway of underachievement because we, as a community, didn't invest enough at the very beginning. And I'm very determined we'll redress that balance. And when I made the comment in my speech about postcodes, I absolutely mean it. I want every child to have that chance. Now, there is a criticism made of this, that it's expensive. I don't believe it's that expensive. I believe it's something that's well worth investment by all of us. It will be an increase on the current budget by quite a lot. John McDonnell signed this off with a lot of care because he believes in this as well. And it's universal because once you start means testing and rationing, you've got to draw a line somewhere. And once you start drawing that line, then you've created a difference in the nursery itself between the children that get free places and the children that are paying. You create an administrative problem. I think, as with our healthcare system, as with our education system, as with our pension system, there should be the principle of universalism. So we as a society and we as a community want all of our children to get that same chance and that same start in life. And so I believe £4.8 billion is a price that the country will understand and realise the benefits all those children get all the way through their education career, but as a society we all get later on in life. And I'm very, very proud of our Child Manifesto and very grateful to you for asking me that question. Thank you very much. As to your question about unfairness towards politicians, there is no such thing as being unfair to politicians. If you put yourself up for elected office in public life, you're subject to permanent scrutiny. Your permanent scrutiny, in my case, of my friends and neighbours, because I live in my constituency, as ministers to Parliament, because that's what Parliament is there for, and to the electorate, because they can decide your future or not. So I don't get upset by these things. Never be so high and mighty you can't listen to everybody else, and make sure you understand the motives of the majority of our people and the kind of society we want to live in. Bring people together that we can go down the road together on that journey together for a better society. Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you, Jeremy. I mean, I do think that sometimes it's ridiculous that everything is about, at the end of the day, John McDonnell has costed the Labour Party's manifesto. The Conservative Party hasn't. So if you want to crunch numbers, speak to the numbers man. Let's talk about the policies in a Labour Party manifesto. Yeah, or read this. I haven't read this, you know. Let's talk about the policies in a Labour Party manifesto. Because it's a policy of the many and not the few. And that's what I really think lots of people are scared of. So I'm going to take another question from the media. I think the media's all here. Sorry, if you can just say your name and where you're from, that would be really useful. Thank you.
Arj Singh from the Press Association. Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Hi, Josh.
It is linked to this morning, but it's about faith.
Well, you were there this morning.
No, not the nursery.
You've been in lots of places.
The radio interview.
In fact, you're stalking me.
I thought I was invited, Jeremy.
Arj, I know it's not allowed in politics. That was meant as a bit of light-hearted humour. Is that allowed?
I'm smiling. The interviewer who interviewed you this morning on childcare policy, Emma Barnett, has been subject to abuse online in the wake of that interview, including anti-Semitic abuse by people purporting to be your supporters. So I was just wondering if you could condemn that.
Arj, thanks for your question. It is totally and absolutely and completely unacceptable for anyone to throw abuse at anyone else. Journalists do ask difficult questions. Journalists do a job that does require asking difficult questions, sometimes in difficult circumstances. I'm actually a member of the National Union of Journalists myself, and I recognise the value of investigative journalism in this country and all around the world. Spare a thought for those brave journalists in some countries, Mexico, for example, and others, that have been killed because they were seeking out the truth. And so, if you don't like what a reporter says or asks of me or anybody else, understand the question they're asking. We will all do our best to answer those questions, but under no circumstances whatsoever should anyone throw personal abuse at anyone else because they're doing the job that they've been employed to do. And I will not tolerate it under any circumstances.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, I'm going to take a couple more. Where did it go? I'll take your papers.
Sure. We're sharing papers in the pen. We've got pens each.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeremy. My name's Rachel. I'm from the Watford Observer. Just wondering, the Labour...
Sorry, Rachel, from which programme?
The Watford Observer.
Oh, thanks, Rachel, yeah.
We were just wondering, having our Labour Watford candidate, Chris, do you think he's still truly representative of the people of Watford if he lives in St Albans?
It's not that far.
How long does it take?
I think maybe, Jeremy, I think Chris should maybe speak for himself now because he's
Chris.
the candidate, right? Yeah, sure, come on.
Chris, defend Watford and St Albans.
Thank you very much for that question. So I was asked to stand here as the candidate for Watford by the Watford Labour Party, because I know Watford so well. I have stood here before in the European elections in 2009 and 2014, and I've helped in many of the campaigns over the years. St Albans, as everybody who lives in Watford knows, is just down the road, and the constituency boundaries have changed so much that sometimes parts of St Albans have been in Watford and then they have changed back. So it's such a local place that I know this place so well. My children were born in the local hospital. Indeed, I was unfortunately had to use the local hospital over the weekend when one of my children fell ill. And this is the nearest place where many people from St Albans come all the time. And I am proud that Watford is the type of place that is so welcoming, that so many people who are not from here are welcomed here. And I would like to make sure that that welcome is extended to everyone, as indeed it has been to me and everyone else who has taken part in this fantastic Labour-winning campaign here in Watford. Thank you very much.
So you've just heard from the next MP for Watford. The next MP for St Albans is also here, Kerry Pollard. So you've got two for the price of one. Kerry, well done. Look forward to you being elected.
Thank you. So I've got some black, Asian, minority, ethnic media at the back. Can I get you to... Yep, brilliant, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corbyn. My name is Tunde Alabi. I'm from Ben Television. My question these days, British citizens have difficulty bringing their spouse, children, or family members into the UK, where they work, they live, and pay taxes, unlike EU nationals who are not having those difficulties. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think it's fair?
Okay. I missed the beginning bit of your question, sorry.
My question is the difficulties the British citizens face in bringing their spouse.
Family reunion.
Yeah, to
Brilliant.
the UK.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that. And the gentleman there at the back, yes? Wait for the mic, thank you.
Hi, my name is Shukr Dar. I'm a Pakistani news channel, Dunya News on Sky. My question is to Germany. Theresa May refused to sit in your debate. How you feel that?
Thank you very much. And there was another gentleman.
Hi, Mr. Corbyn. In 2015, Miliband said that he would outlaw Islamophobia by making it a significant hate crime. Now, with the recent terror attacks and everything that's been going on, the growing concern of Islamophobia, what does Labour plan to do to tackle the issue of Islamophobia?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well done. Okay, I think, and I also think Sarah might want to do a bit on Islamophobia, I think. But I think, Jeremy, those two?
Okay.
Family reunions?
Tunde, thank you for your question. Our manifesto is absolutely clear about this, that the difficulties faced by family reunion from non-European countries is huge. It is clear in our manifesto that we understand that and that we will facilitate family reunion on the basis of the human rights of people to live together. And that is specifically there in the manifesto. I know this as a constituency MP, and many others know it, the heartbreak of going through trying to bring family to this country because of arbitrary levels of income set by the government. And we're quite clear that we will change that and therefore enable family reunion to take place. And Shokar, thank you for your questions about the debate. I must say that yesterday evening we had the first of debates for the general election between the party leaders, but it seems slightly odd that I'm answering questions first as part of the debate, and very happy to answer questions from anybody, any time, and the other party leader was in a room upstairs waiting her turn. That wasn't my choice. My choice is a debate between the leaders of all the parties. And I'm sure the Prime Minister's busy today, but I hope she's got a moment to look on the television or look online today, and she will see my very polite and kind invitation that we could perhaps come together somewhere and have a debate so that we can discuss our manifestos, discuss our policies, and discuss our party's visions for the future of this country, so that everybody can see exactly what is on offer. I'm very proud of what we've got on offer.
Yeah.
And on your question, Sarah, I'm asking Sarah to deal with the question on Islamophobia. And Sarah, I have to say, has done an absolutely brilliant job in the Shadow Cabinet of bringing all these policies together, and she's going to be a fantastic minister delivering those policies in government.
The level of Islamophobia, but also all hate crimes, is going through the roof at the moment. We saw a 400% increase in the month after Brexit. What I'm finding, though, that is most abhorrent, because we do have good legislation in place to tackle it, is that the communities that I speak to, and particularly women of a Muslim background, they now feel they have to endure it. They feel if they go to the police, it won't be taken seriously. They feel that that is part of the Britain that they have to live in. And that is just so unacceptable, and we must challenge it at every step. And one of the things that I'm most pleased is in the manifesto is that whilst the Tories have cut and cut and cut our police, so literally trying to report it has become almost impossible, and having it acted on is getting more and more resource tight. We will increase the police, and we will have zero tolerance to crimes like that. Thank you.
I hope you're getting a sense of the kind of world that we could live in under a Labour government on June. Does it feel good? Feels like we could do it. You don't have to convince you. We have to convince everybody else, right?
You're convinced, yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to just take a couple more questions. I want to take 3 from the audience, please. Wait for the mic, please, sorry. I thought Jeremy was going to say that Theresa may be looking at the Theresa May gifts on the... I spent half an hour scrolling through them on Twitter. They were amazing. Sorry.
Hi, good afternoon, Jeremy. I'm Nouri from Ealing Southall. My question is, this is something really alarming and very sad for the whole community in Britain on Manchester attack. And we are very concerned, our children are very concerned. So it's not a question, I just would like to comment. Of course, we true believer of Labour Party values, and we know that Labour is the only party who can deliver for our country and for our children. I just would like to say, if we are in power after 8th of June, are we going to review our international foreign policy and international relations, what's happening around the world, like Syria, Iran, Afghanistan, Kashmir, and Palestine? So I hope, we too believe you're going to do something, and that's what my request is.
Thank you very much. Not if, but when. And I'm going to take, because I don't want to be accused of right-wing bias, I want to take a question from this side over here. I don't know if you're pointing to that lady. Oh, yes, that lady there, yeah. Can you wait for the mic, please? Sorry. Yeah. So I've made him have to run from all the way around to the...
Hi, Jeremy. I'm a very proud British Muslim woman, and I heard Sarah Champion's piece just there now about what the Labour government planned to do in terms of putting more police on the street responding to Islamophobia. But what else will Labour do to help the communities, give them the tools to tackle this problem that they are facing? I see many, many good Muslims within mosques and communities working so hard to bring this issue to the forefront. But what more will Labour do to give these communities the tools that they need?
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to take one last question from the guy with the afro. Thank you. Just because it's just more... There you go. Thank you. Is that true?
Hi. Hi, Jeremy. Thank you very much. I guess my question is about kind of realising opportunities, especially for young people of colour. I come from a single-parent household, low income. We couldn't afford like tutoring or anything like that, and my mother had to invest a lot to get me to go into university, and eventually I was lucky enough to go to Cambridge, where there's less than like 4% of black ethnic minority people. I think that's all well and good for me, but I think it's unfortunate because I saw so many other people like me growing up who couldn't make that. Why? Because they didn't get the support they needed in school, or they didn't get the kind of support from mental health, or they had to be a carer for their parent or something like that, or even worse, they succumb to like drugs or knife crime or something like that. So that's why, how can we kind of realise these opportunities? And one thing else I want to say, I know she's not here anymore, but Diane Abbott is a hero and a legend.
What was your name? Sorry, what's your name? Josh. Wonderful. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks for the other two questions. The Manchester attack was the most unspeakable, awful crime that you could imagine. The loss of the lives of young women and girls who were merely out enjoying themselves for the evening by one individual. And those families are never going to recover from that. The trauma and the pain will go on for the rest of their lives. I was in Manchester the following day. I spoke to the Prime Minister overnight, and we agreed we would suspend all election campaigning as we did, in order to show due respect and honour to those that lost their lives. And I went to Manchester the following day, and there was a memorial gathering in Albert Square in front of the town hall, and it was absolutely packed with people. Thousands and thousands of people came at less than 18 hours after the incident took place, including ambulance workers, firefighters, paramedics, local authority workers, police, everybody that had done so much to try and deal with that carnage. And they all came together in a sense of unity. And when the Lord Mayor said, this is about the strength of all of our communities together, people fully understood it. All of the faith leaders that were there, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, all gave exactly the same message, that we must not allow this act of hate to divide us. We have to come together as communities. That killing was no more done in the name of Islam than any other murder anywhere else. It was a murder that was done. And so we have to ensure we bring all communities together. Anti-Semitism is vile, Islamophobia is vile, racism in any form is vile. And we do have laws against it. Those laws need, I think, to be tougher, and I'm quite prepared to toughen those laws up to make sure that we make it absolutely wrong and illegal. But it's also about an education process. It's an education process that brings communities together and doesn't demonize one community or the other, because therein lies the road to nowhere and no disaster. You can set up hate against anybody. At the end of it, you haven't built a house, you haven't employed a doctor, you haven't employed a nurse, you haven't actually achieved anything other than a division and hatred within our communities. And so I admire those people in Manchester that worked so hard to bring communities together. And it's our purpose and our mission as a Labour Party and a Labour government to bring all those communities together out of respect for each other's faith, backgrounds, language and ethnicity, and respect the work that each does. The great work done every day in synagogues, in mosques, in churches, and people of no faith in bringing communities together. That is what we're about, and that's the kind of Britain that I'm very proud of, and that's the kind of Britain I want to live in, and that's the kind of Britain I want to see. Don't demonise people, bring them in together, and prevent any discrimination in any form in our society, so we can all be seen to be able to make a good contribution to a strong country. Josh, the points you raised are absolutely central and very important. Congratulations to you on getting to Cambridge and achieving a degree there. I presume you did.
I've taken my exams this week.
You've taken your exams this week.
Good luck.
All right. Fingers crossed for Josh. But what you said, obviously, huge congratulations to you and your mum and all those that supported you. And well done for what you've achieved already and what you will achieve in the rest of your life. But we have to make sure that every child has those same chances. It's not just about an idealism that every child can achieve something. It actually makes good common sense. Because if a child is brought up in such poverty and such lack of opportunity and such underfunded schools and public services, they can't achieve their potential, we all lose as well as they do. They lose because they haven't achieved what they could in life. We lose a good engineer, we lose a good doctor, we lose a good nurse, we lose a good teacher because that person never had the chance. So our manifesto, our programme, is about funding our schools, is about restoring educational maintenance allowance, is about getting rid of student fees, is about maintenance grants in universities. You know what it's also about? Is restoring adult education. So those that have left school, maybe didn't achieve everything they wanted, can go back to college to achieve it. And so it really is about unlocking that potential for all. And I'll finish on this. There's one part of the manifesto that I fought very hard to get put in the manifesto. Even I have to fight to get things in the manifesto, you know. In there is the pupil arts premium. So that every child in every school will not only get a free school meal in a primary school, eating it together so they're better nourished, but they will also be able to nourish their imagination by learning a musical instrument while they're in school.
I wanted to try and squeeze five of them, but I can't. Okay, so I've been told that I have to end it there. I just want to say, please go out there, fight for every single vote. We have 9 days to win. If everybody can convince another 50 people, we can do this, and we can win, and we can form a Labour government. Jeremy Corbyn will be our Prime